Hello, everyone, and happy 2020 to you. My name is Lisa Collins, and I am the Director of Broker Concierge Partnerships here at PrimePay. And this is really the time of the year that we look back in the prior year and we make plans for the future year, this new 2020 year, new decade. And we make plans for our success. Many brokers that I've talked to, I consistently hear a similar message. They not only want to grow their book of business, but they want to make their business larger, work with larger groups. So I'm really excited to introduce a guest today, and Andy Neary. He is going to talk about three keys to winning and retaining larger business. But before we get started, I just wanted to make a quick intro to Andy. He is a former pitcher with the Milwaukee Brewers, and he understands how small budget teams are able to compete with biggest payrolls in baseball. He understands winning teams share a common set of principles, and Andy utilizes these principles to help benefit advisors and employers make a huge impact to the rising healthcare costs. Andy is also an Amazon best-selling author of Breaking Through the Status Quo. He's a consultant with the Olson Group, and he also works with insurance professionals looking to increase revenue with a game plan built for all 9 innings. So before I turn it over to Andy, I just wanted to let everybody know you are on mute. We do want to take your questions, though, so just complete your questions in the question area of the panel. And at the end of the presentation, as time allows, we will get to those questions and have Andy answer them. So with that, Andy, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Lisa, and welcome everybody. Thank you for being on the webinar today. I'm excited to talk with you guys. Some of the stuff I'm going to be sharing with you in this webinar, I think, is much needed in the industry right now. I'm getting a lot of questions in my interactions with benefit advisors about the stuff I'm going to share with you today. So hope you find it informative, educational, but let's have some fun at the same time. And like Lisa said, if you guys got any questions, type them in the chat box and we'll get them addressed at the end of the webinar. So let's level set. I talk to benefit advisors every day, and I don't know how many on the webinar are familiar with the 6 basic human needs, but when it comes to benefit advisors, industry partners, I think there's 3 of those needs that definitely stand out today, and that's number 1, certainty. I think we would all like to have certainty in how our businesses are growing. I think we would like to have certainty in the fact we know our prospects are looking at us as authorities in the market. And I think we'd love to have certainty of our book of business is still going to be here 3 to 5 years from now. The second one is growth. I hope if you're on this webinar right now, you're looking to grow, you're out getting after it, trying to build a bigger book of business each and every year. And then the third need I often hear from other advisors is just significance. Guys, this market right now is noisy. And I think as a benefit advisor, having that desire to have significance in your specific market, quite frankly, is one that every advisor should strive for. And I'm going to share with you why that is today. And so if these are the needs we as benefit advisors are striving for, certainty, growth, some significance within the industry, within our own specific markets, what is preventing us from getting to that right now? Well, I see 3 things right now I think that are really putting a hurdle in the way of advisors winning the business they know they deserve, growing the books of business the way you know you should be growing it. Number 1, you don't have enough opportunity. Opportunities right now for most advisors are few and far between. I would argue if you're on this webinar right now, there's a good chance you don't have trouble closing business. You know your message might even be really good. The challenge you have right now is you just don't have enough opportunities. So let's talk about why that is. Why don't you have enough opportunities right now? Well, number 1, your biggest challenge right now is this right here. Got a lot of noise in the industry right now. Everybody is out talking about the same things. Everybody is sharing the same ideas. It used to be a lot easier 5-10 years ago to have a competitive advantage, right? You had a strategy, you had some process that your competitors did not have access to. But because of social media, because of how quickly we all access information today, guys, it's really hard to stand out right now because there's a lot of noise within the insurance space. The second reason you are struggling to get opportunities right now is whether you like it or not, you're a commodity. Now, guys, I hope you enjoy having fun. I like to have fun with my slides so you see a herd of sheep. The point is all these sheep look the same. And this is how your prospects view you. Yes, you might think you have a different message right now. Yes, you know you have some strategies your competitors aren't using, but I hate to say it to your top prospects right now, you are a health insurance broker just like every other health insurance broker in your market. And the third challenge you have right now is you're just not creating enough awareness of who you are, what you do, and how you can help your prospects and clients win. You're in the dark. No one knows who you are. And at the end of the day, the game we are all playing right now within the insurance space, if you want to go out and win larger business, is you have to win the game of attention. Today's business comes down to who knows you, who likes you, and who trusts you. But people cannot like you, people cannot trust you if they don't know who you are. You have to create awareness of who you are so the market sees you consistently, the market sees you persistently, and this is how you're going to get people to eventually like you and trust you. This is even more important when you're trying to play upstream in the larger groups, because at the end of the day, guys, here's the deal. Humans buy from humans. They do not buy from logos on business cards. I know there are some advisors on this webinar that probably represent some of the larger consulting firms, and you often see the consulting firms represented as the company. Guys, they're buying from you, the human. They're buying from who you are, not who you work for. So the goal you want to establish in your business is to create that awareness of your brand so by that people just want to do business with you regardless of who you work with. That is the ultimate goal we're all trying to attain. That goes to that one human need that I talked about earlier, which is significance. So if we're all caught in this noise right now within the health insurance industry, if we're being viewed as a commodity by our prospects, and if we're not creating enough awareness of who we are, this is why we don't have enough opportunities. How do we fix this? How do we change this? How do you stand out in your market so that you can get more opportunities? Well, let's talk about that. That's why we are doing this webinar today. Number one, let's talk about how you get people into your funnel. Because here's the deal. If you guys could envision a funnel that goes into a gas tank, inside that funnel is your pipeline. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm willing to bet for most of you on this webinar right now, once you get a prospect into that pipeline, into that funnel, you're pretty good at making that prospect become a client. You've got a good message. You don't need help closing business, and you're good at having that prospect pop out the bottom of the funnel, a client. But what you struggle with is creating that awareness above the funnel to get more prospects to fall into your pipeline. So let's talk about how you can start crafting a message that is going to help you create awareness of who you are in the marketplace. It's going to help you stand out amongst your competition. What we're going to talk about right now is nothing more than the hero's journey. If you want to create a message that resonates with your prospects, you want to stand out, you have to take your prospect through the hero's journey. What is the hero's journey? It starts with a hero, starts with a character. Now, in the hero's journey, you, the broker, are not the hero. And that's a mistake I see a lot of advisors, a lot of agencies, a lot of consulting firms make today, is they like to view themselves as the hero. Look at what we're doing for our clients. Look at the amazing results we are getting for our clients. Look at the changes we're helping our clients make. You're not the hero. your prospects and your clients are. So this journey starts with the hero, who is your prospect. But in this hero's journey, every hero has a desire. So what is the desires of your prospects that you are trying to work with right now? Most of you probably immediately went to reducing health insurance costs, building better health insurance plans, but that is not their desire, guys. If you're a CEO, if you have a prospect that's a CEO, his or her desires typically are grow revenue, grow profit, try to find and attract the top talent out in the market, and just remain relevant and competitive in their individual industry. Health insurance is not their desire. So you have to speak to what their desires are, whether it's a CEO, it's a CFO, or it's an HR professional. What is he or she trying to accomplish within their organization? Now, every hero has a challenge that is holding him or her back from achieving those desires. This is where you come in. Could we argue that if you are a CEO who's trying to grow revenue, who's trying to find the top talent out there, who's trying to remain competitive in his or her industry, could we agree that the rising cost of health insurance has had a negative impact on all three of those areas? Could it be impacting his ability to grow the company? Could the watered down benefits be impacting his or her ability to find the top talent? Absolutely. That's the challenge you're there to talk about. Mr. and Mrs. CEO, you have these desires, but you have this one challenge that is holding you back from achieving those desires. That's what I'm here to help you with, because every hero needs a guide. And you on this webinar, whether you're an advisor or an industry partner, are that guide. Anybody who's watched Star Wars, you are Yoda. Your client, your prospect is Luke Skywalker. You are there to guide them to achieve the desires that they have. Because when that hero finds the guide gives him or her the plan. And that's your job as an advisor. What is your plan that you implement for your clients to help them have success? What is it you put in place for your clients when you are hired that helps them achieve their desires as a business? And what is the plan you help your clients implement, most importantly, that helps them avoid failure? When we share the customer journey, the hero journey with our prospects and clients, we often forget to talk about not only are we going to help you achieve success, but our plan is going to help you avoid failure. What would life look like for that prospect if they didn't hire you? How high would health insurance costs continue to go if they didn't hire you? So it's important, guys, that you not only talk about the successes you can help them achieve, but the failures you're helping them avoid by hiring you. Because at the end, you want that prospect, that client to have and feel transcendence. What is transcendence? Transcendence is literally they feel that they can achieve what you just told them to do. They can see themselves in that destination that you just painted for them. I think one of the mistakes I see advisors often make in our industry is they talk about some of these new strategies out there and how they can help you save 30, 40, 50% off of your current health insurance cost. Guys, that's not transcendence. You're talking to a prospect that has taken 8, 10% increases for 5+ years, and now you're going to come tell them that you can save them 30%? They don't believe it. They don't see themselves in that picture. So you have to paint the picture they can believe and that they can see themselves. So that's it, guys. That's the customer, the hero's journey. You're going to take your prospects and your clients down. That's going to help you craft a better message for your prospects. That's step number one. If you want to stand out amongst your competition, you have to start telling a better story. Everybody on this call has lost to a competitor that you know you're better than. I've been there far too many times. Why? They probably told a better story. And the hero's journey is very simple. It's a hero who has desires but has challenges, that finds a guide who gives him or her the plan to help him or her succeed and help him or her avoid failure. Craft your message around that premise, gang, and I promise you, your sales message will stand out amongst your competitors. Now, step 2 of getting away from the noise, of grabbing more prospecting opportunities. Now that you've got the message down, now that you're telling a better story, you have got to figure out a way to get that message in front of your target prospect as often as you can. So how do you do it? I call it the 5 pillars of awareness. The 5 pillars of awareness are going to give you the best opportunity to become omnipresent. It's going to give you the best opportunity to make sure your message stays in front of your prospects even when you're not in front of them. The classic example I always give is the broker who makes the phone call to a prospect, cold call. Prospect says, sounds interesting, but we don't renew in 8 months. So calls back in about 6 months. Most brokers in that moment wait 6 months, call the prospect back, and now that call is just as cold as the call you made today. You have got to find a way to keep your message in front of your prospects, even when you're not reaching out to call them or be in front of them, so that when you make that call in 6 months, they know who you are, they already like you because of your message, and now it becomes easier to get them to trust you and hire you. So what are these 5 pillars of awareness that if you can hit consistently and persistently, I promise you will give you more opportunities and you know what to do with? Number 1, starts with centers of influence. Social media today loves to call these people influencers. It's nothing more than centers of influence, right? It might be a banker, an accountant, a financial planner. Who is in your life right now, in your business life, that could help you bring multiple prospects to you, and you could do the same for them? Start leveraging your centers of influence. Start getting your centers of influence to buy into this new message that you've crafted. And you need to be hitting centers of influence consistently. My challenge to you is I would tell you to connect with one center of influence every week if you can. The second area is social media. Now, I know I can hear a couple of you right now on this webinar, Andy, my prospects are not on social media. Here's my challenge to you. If we go back to those basic human needs, if one of those are growth and you're trying to grow your book of business for the future, I want you to stop thinking about who your prospect has always been, and I want you to start thinking about who your prospect is going to be. That 61-year-old CFO in the next 5 years is going to be replaced by the 35-year-old CFO, and guess where he or she is today? They're on social media. You need to do the same. You need to find a way to get your message out on social media. This is a long-term strategy, guys. This is not quick win theory. This is one reason why I see advisors poo-poo marketing and social media. They want quick wins. You have to build a business for the long term. Social media allows you to do that. Get your message out. For most of you, the most obvious platform is going to be LinkedIn. So get that message out. Share that message consistently on social media so that your target prospects can see you consistently. Third way is email campaigns. This is the third pillar of awareness. Now that you've got a presence on social media, you're connecting with CFOs and CEOs and HR professionals, you've got to be more consistent with creating effective emails. Now, a lot of you work for agencies or consulting houses that consistently send out email campaigns. Here's the problem. Most of them are the local ACA update from Washington, D.C., or the most recent ACA update from Washington, D.C. It's the company newsletter. Guys, no one is reading that stuff. My challenge to you is type an email out that brings value to them, teaches them something that can help grow, improve their benefits, and type an email that actually sounds like it comes from you. I challenge every advisor I work with to spend 1/2 hour every week typing up a really good email that brings value, and then send that email out once a week to your target prospects. I promise you, if you do that over time, not only are they going to hear your message a lot, they're going to really start to like that message, and they're going to give you a better shot to earn their business in the long run. The fourth area is webinars. Guys, once you've got your message that we talked about, once you know what your hero's journey, your customer's journey is, I highly recommend you leverage the tool of webinars to get that message out in front of them. I host webinars monthly, and it's now just a rinse and repeat process. But if I were you, at least quarterly, I would be finding a way to conduct and host a webinar to bring your message to your target prospects. In fact, every webinar you do does not have to be done solely by you. If you have certain industry partners you work with, bring them on as subject matter experts, interview them, but find a way to continue to share your content to your target audience by way of using webinars. And the fifth and final, and I think most effective, is public speaking. Guys, when you stand on stage, whether it's at an event you host or at somebody else's venue that hired you, you are the authority to those people in that room for the time you are on stage, whether it's 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or a full hour. Find a way to start leveraging public speaking opportunities, whether it's quarterly, semi-annually, because I promise you, when you bring your prospects to you, you stand on stage and share that value, you just skyrocketed the opportunity to bring more business to you and to your agency. Now, I promise you, if you get consistent this year at leveraging your centers of influence, being on social media, writing effective emails, hosting webinars, and looking for public speaking opportunities, that awareness you're creating above that funnel is going to give you more prospecting opportunities than you know what to do with. Now, we started with a message. How do you craft a message that's going to help you stand out amongst your competition? It's going to call your prospects to action, and it's going to allow you to share a story that resonates with your prospects. We then talked about how you create the awareness. How do you get that message everywhere all the time? Now let's talk about when that large prospect becomes a client. How do you retain them? I talk to a lot of advisors, and I will probably say more of the independent advisors out there than the big consulting firms. They go out and they win a piece of business that's larger than they typically win. They're excited. They don't know how they're going to help them in the future, and that's where they fall flat on their face. They fail to execute. They win on a good message, but they fail on execution, and a year later at the first renewal, they're already losing that big client to somebody else. So let's quickly talk about how you can retain these large groups that you are now going to start winning. Number one, talk about financing risk. I want you to start working with your large groups on 3 areas of risk. Number one is financing risk. Teach them how to finance their health insurance plans more effectively. We all know on this call, I hope, fully insured plans are not the way to control your health insurance cost. If you are fully insured, you have no control. Do everything you can do to teach your larger groups how to become level funded, self-funded, or a part of a captive. Number 2, focus on catastrophic risks. Critical illnesses, surgeries, high-cost medications. What can you do to help your clients mitigate not only the risk of those claims occurring, but when they occur, how can you help your clients mitigate the cost of what those catastrophic claims are? Guys, there's a lot of misdiagnosis, a lot of overcharging going on in the healthcare industry today. Be that advisor that's known to help your clients attack the high cost of some of these high cost claims so that you can really start helping your clients drive down the cost of their health insurance plans. And the third area of risk, well, I failed to mention, here's how you do this. Let's imagine you have a health insurance plan that on average costs $10,000 per employee per year. What do I mean when I talk about those catastrophic risks? I think we could agree that 20% of the typical membership inside a health insurance plan drives 80% of the claims, probably more like 1090 today, but let's say it's 2080. 20% drive 80% of the claims. Do you know what those 20%ers cost a health plan if the health plan cost $10,000 per employee per year on average? They're going to cost $40,000 a year. The other 80%, that are in that health plan that are healthy are only going to cost $2,500 on average. Be the advisor that helps your clients focus on those spending $40,000 a year. If you can do that, you will make the greatest impact to the cost and the quality of the benefits you're providing your clients. And the third area of risk is healthcare purchasing risk. Help your employees, help your clients help their employees navigate these 4 boxes of what we call the healthcare supply chain. 96 cents of every claim dollar that is spent inside the healthcare system comes by way of inpatient hospital charges, outpatient surgical cost, prescription drugs, and then those services that happen inside a doctor's office. Help your clients' employees navigate those 4 areas of spend. And again, I promise you, you will not only help your clients build a better health plan over time, you will help them do it at a cost less than what they paid 3-4 years ago. So when you retain these large groups, focus on the financing risk, focus on the catastrophic risk, and focus on helping the employees navigate the healthcare system through healthcare purchasing risk. And when you do that, now it's time for you to step up from the service standpoint, help those large groups create a strategic plan. I talk to far too many advisors who win these big groups, win these large pieces of business, and literally have no strategic plan to help them. Create a 2 or 3 year strategic plan so that they can remember what their desires are, so they can hit their desires in the next 2 or 3 years. Create accountability with your clients. I see too many brokers who allow themselves to get pushed around by their clients because, hey, it's our largest client. We're going to do whatever they want us to do. No. You need to hold them accountable just as much as they hold you accountable. That's called partnership. Number 3, have a meeting cadence. At a minimum, you should be meeting with your large groups quarterly. First quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. Probably some of you meeting more often than that, but a minimum, you should at least be meeting with them quarterly and set the expectation with them that you will be meeting with them quarterly. And then last but not least, measure performance. Performance is not measured by, hey, we negotiated a 20% increase down to 10%. Measure the performance of the claims. Measure the performance of your ability to help your client, again, not only improve the actual quality and coverage within the health insurance plan, but measure how you're helping them actually reduce cost and their employees' cost at the same time. Guys, I promise you, if you focus on this, if you create a better message, if you start making sure that message is everywhere in front of your prospects all the time, and then when those large groups become clients, if you focus on financing, catastrophic, and healthcare purchasing risk, and you put these tools in play consistently for your clients, you're not only going to win that type of business more often, you're going to keep that business longer. Because right now you have 1 or 2 choices. You can keep battling the game everybody else is battling. You can be caught in the noise. You can be viewed as a commodity. You can stay away from social media, emails, and all of that and create no awareness of who you are, or you can start taking action today, stand out and step up away from your competition. I promise you, when you do that well, guys, you will have more opportunities than you know what to do with. Now, if any of you are interested out there right now in connecting, I would love to connect with you. You can either go to my website, andyneary.com. Feel free to shoot me a text or give me a call at 414-403-8383. You've got my email address there. And if we're not connected on LinkedIn, by all means, let's make sure we connect. Now, Lisa also said, wanted to know how else could people connect and become part of the Major League Mindset community that I'm growing. Number 1, guys, if you want to join my email community where I shoot weekly tips and tricks on presentation skills, speaking skills, marketing, stuff like that, type this URL in, input your information, and you will become part of the community. Number 2, I just started a 90-day mastermind a couple weeks ago. We're going to be doing another one of these later in the summer. What is the 90-day mastermind? It's an online mastermind where David Saltzman and I, a colleague who you might know, are teaching how you can use your message and use an effective marketing plan to create that omnipresence you want in your market to grow your business. And number 3, coming up here at the end of May, early June, I am super excited about hosting a 2-day retreat out in Fort Collins where I live. Again, we're going to spend 2.5 days diving into your message, diving into how you can market that message to your audience so you create that awareness, you create those opportunities you know you desire. So with that being said, Lisa, that's all I got. How about some questions?
Okay, sounds good. That's a lot of great information. Wanted to start, I guess, really segueing to what you just mentioned about that message. How do you really get started crafting or creating the message? Maybe I have writer's block. So what do I do to get started?
Good question. I would literally sit down when you watch this recording or you're on the webinar right now. I want you to write down character, desires, challenges, guide, the plan. What does success look like? What would failure look like? And Lisa, I would literally have, if I were an advisor, I would literally start writing that out. Who's my character? Is it a CFO? Is it a CEO, an HR? All 3? What are his or her desires? And just start going through that process.
So one thing that I hear brokers say is like a differentiator, and maybe this is their, story they're creating is service really is their differentiator. Can you speak to that because I hear that so often?
And so do I. I will say I challenge this. If service is the standard today. I think if you're still out there telling the market that service is your differentiator, you have better customer service than anyone else, it's not helping you stand out. It's keeping you a commodity. Your competitors are saying the same thing. I think you need to start thinking about other ways that you can be viewed different. Like I said, helping employers attack the cost of health insurance and healthcare is one great way to do it. But the time has come that we need results, not just service. And so I would really start focusing on how you can create those positive results for your clients.
One of the, you had mentioned email campaigns. And so one of the questions was asking, is it okay to use the distribution list to send out the emails and use the BCC, the blind copy method?
Great question too. Yes, absolutely. I tell advisors, I personally use an email platform, which allows me to blast an email yet still personalize it. The downside to email platforms is more often my emails are apt to go into spam. It's just the way it is. So if you're using, say, Outlook, Lisa, to write emails, I would just, literally put everybody in a BCC. I would create a group within your Outlook as a contact, throw it into BCC, send it out. You can't personalize it, but you know what? You're still getting your message out.
And following the email, just calls. Should they leave voicemail? Why or why not? And then if they leave voicemail messages, should one be left? And really, what should they say to get them to call them back?
Great question. Voicemails, if you have a cold calling cadence you use, I mean, simple rule of thumb is I'd leave a message every other call. I wouldn't leave one every call. What I do think is effective with voicemails is if you shot an email out, let's say you're hosting a webinar and you sent an email out inviting a group, inviting somebody to the webinar, I would call them up. Odds are you're going to get their voicemail, and I'd leave a really quick voicemail, purely just telling them to check their email. I think a really good 1-2 punch for cold calling is to send somebody an email, follow it up with a voicemail, and then let them encourage them to check their email. Odds are they're more apt to check the email and reply.
And with your social media conversation, what is your best social media distribution method?
Like what platform?
Yeah.
I would say for anybody in business right now, it's LinkedIn. You've got Instagram, you got Facebook, TikTok, Twitter. I mean, they're all out there, but really to make connections and bring value with your target audience, you're going to want to spend your time on LinkedIn. LinkedIn has probably the most free organic growth right now. You literally don't have to have much of a following, Lisa. You could post something and you could get thousands of views.
I know that's how I got introduced to you, just
Yeah.
somehow following you on LinkedIn, and your content was so great that we had reached out to you. You do a lot of videos instead of just written pieces. Is there a preferred method there, one over the other?
Great. Yes and no. Here's what I'll say. If you want to start creating content for social media, first start with a platform you like. Maybe you're good on video and you like video. Some of you might like writing, write blogs. Some of you might like talking, but not be seen on camera. Do audio, but here's where it gets really fun, is if you can find a way to be on all three, people listen to content and digest it differently. Some watch stuff, some listen, and some just read. If you can create content that hits all three of those areas of consumption, you will create that omnipresence. I tell people the easiest way to do that, Lisa, is if you were to create one video, there's your video, right? Go then listen to your video, and as you're listening, literally type out what you said on the video, and that could be the blog. There's your written content. And then there's free tools on the internet that allow you to strip out the audio of a video, and you could just throw an audio somewhere, and now you've got the audio. So from one piece of content, you could literally create all three.
That's great information. So, who do you actually follow on social media? You personally interested to hear.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I tell people this all the time. I see advisors, every piece of consumption they digest is health insurance related. I'm not that way at all. I actually follow, some you either love him or hate him, a guy named Gary Vaynerchuk. I follow Tony Robbins. I follow Ed Milet, guys who actually are more focused on human behavior, Lisa, and human psychology and marketing. Because if I'm going to get wins in this business, I need opportunities, right? So I want to study the ways I can get those opportunities. I don't just want to study health insurance knowledge. The product knowledge and all the other stuff that comes with being an advisor will come the more I use it, but I'm going to spend my time on social media following those who are going to teach me how to get my message out and how to create more opportunities to share my message.
Really interesting. So I think what we'll do, there were a couple questions around that. We will, when we post this on LinkedIn, we'll ask everybody to comment who they're following on social media, and maybe people will get really good ideas and good content from others out there. So look for that in our broker concierge. Will you, actually, I talked about that. Will you go to the next slide? Do we have our contact information
Yep.
on that? Okay, great. So we just wanted to wrap up. Andy, again, thank you so much for being our guest. Great information to share, information that's very valuable, especially when you're planning your 2020 vision for this year. Our broker concierge program, some of you are partners, others are not. We are expanding this, and our focus in 2020 is more in providing you with client-focused tools and resources. So again, helping you prospect, fill that funnel, as Andy was saying. And with the broker concierge program, really the whole goal there is not to be just a vendor, but to help you strengthen your existing client relationships, also with the prospecting and meeting your clients' demands. They are demanding more and more each day. So if you aren't a partner, please reach out to us. Here is a couple different ways. You can call us at that 866 toll-free number. You can email us at concierge. Also, Prime Pay Broker Concierge with the LinkedIn, Twitter, and this recording will actually be on our Broker Concierge channel as well. So you'll want to go there and follow us there. So Andy, why don't you turn back to just your contact information as well, and one more opportunity. And this is Andy's information. We will be reaching out to all of you following this webinar with the presentation and contact information as well. So thank you for your time today. I know January is still very busy, and Andy, thank you again for joining us. Great.
You bet, Lisa. Thank you for having me, and thank you for being on, everybody.
Take care.